Clark. I think it's to do with the fact that our referee Darren Drysdale, we're having to wait for him at the moment.
They just put out an announcement that they've asked for a qualified referee, so I assume the referee has gone down injured and that they're going to need someone to act as either fourth official or assistant referee. Shades of Jimmy Hill running on the pitch. There's one.
It is, yeah. Oh, I know about that.
Blue tracks.
Don't worry, I know about that one. Well, again, it gives us a chance to really look into that question. How does Southend get the impetus from the off as opposed to after the half-time whistle is blown?
It shouldn't take an awful lot of geeing up. You know, surely as players you learn from your mistakes and you think to yourselves, look, we played Truro at home and we possibly took it a bit light and we allowed them to get on the front foot and get the noses in front, which gave them something to cling on to, and we found it difficult, and we know we can't do that. So surely that would tell you as an individual or a group, we cannot afford to do that again.
Well, good news, the officials have led out the teams at Roots Hall. Southend in their dark blue shirts and shorts and white socks, Gateshead in their blue shirts with the claret fade towards the bottom and claret shorts and socks. The officials all in yellow. The assistants are Daniel Cook and Isabel Chaplin. But bearing in mind that there was a call for a referee, we suspect that fourth official Richard Carter perhaps has stepped up to the plate. We have seen this before in Southend games. It's one of those pub quiz questions actually. That what was the strange thing that happened in the National League playoff final with Southend ahead at 2-1 in extra time. The referee picked up an injury and the fourth official had to come on. I don't know if you remember that one, Paul Clark, but as it stands, we do have, again, we're ready to get going as the players perform their warm-up. Southend with 3 changes from the last game. Paul Clark.
Yeah, one thing I will say, I made mention of the finishing drills that they did before the game against Truro. Because of that, I watched the finishing drill that they did today. It was a hell of a lot better. Let's hope that transfers it onto the pitch, because in pretty much all games Southend are creating enough chances. Their conversion rate though is pretty poor.
Let's see if they can change that tonight. 3 changes with Datuma. Owen Mason, Keenan Appiah-Forson and Tom Hopper dropping out of the starting 11. Colin Ndeng comes in alongside Sam Austin and Charlie Kendall. So starting 11 of Ndeng, a back 3 of Taylor, Golding, Gubbins, Scott Morris on the right, Boys on the left, Miley the captain, 150th appearance for him in front of defence. Coker and Austin in midfield, and Dallas and Kendall leading the line.
You're going to get all superstitious again now, aren't you?
I only said it, but it's just because there's a bit of a precedence at the moment. I'll explain that later on. Gateshead with Desbois, the lonely goalkeeper, coming in so recently. There's so much change to this Gateshead side. He joined from Slough Town last week, made his debut in that late 1-0 win against Braintree Town. We expect Gateshead to line up with a back 3 of Radcliffe, Story and Nicholson. Richardson on the right in the captain's armband, Ward on the left, John in front of the defence, Chapman and Bowen in front in the midfield, with Boatswain and Chadwick leading the line.
Be just as interesting to see how they approach the opening as well, whether they're going to expect an onslaught from Southend and sit back and try and soak it up, or fight fire with fire and really try and guard Southend and almost say, well look, they're going to come at us and throw bodies forward, so perhaps they're going to leave spaces in behind early on and we can really get at them and learn from certainly what Truro did, but also what Boreham Wood did here, put balls in behind the Southend defence, because that's probably when they're at their weakest.
So we have everybody in place. Referee now Richard Carter getting ready to get things started. Gateshead will be playing from right to left, as I say, in their blue and claret shirts, claret shorts and socks. The goalkeeper in a yellow kit, but the top has a grey pattern on it. For Southend in their dark blue shirts and shorts, white socks from left to right, and Ndeng, the goalkeeper, in all green. And we are underway here on BBC Essex Sport. Southend United looking to get back to winning ways in the National League, facing second from bottom but sharp in form Gateshead, making their 299-mile journey from the northeast. Not the longest journey this season. Southend did that only a couple of days ago against Carlisle United. In the meantime, 25 seconds in, Gateshead trying to start sharply but push the ball out of play on their right wing on the far side. So it'll be Joe Gubbins to throw it.
Yeah, to show an intent for from the kick-off, they just rolled it straight back to the goalkeeper, who knocked it as far forward as he possibly could. So it looks like they're going to try and pin Southend back in their half, to, as I say, to stop an expected onslaught.
We'll get an idea of how they're going to shape up. Gateshead might even be a 4-4-2 actually, with Richardson at right back position, two sitters in Radcliffe and Story, and Nicholson on the left, Chapman on the left wing, Ward on the right, with John and Bowen in the midfield, Chadwick and Boatswain leading the line. As Dallas tries to bring this to ground from the throw-in, but Gateshead able to sweep it up, and most of the ball spent most of the time on Southend's left wing inside their own half, as it goes out for a third throw-in of these opening seconds.
Yeah, they've made their intentions perfectly clear in these couple of minutes. Of every ball they've had so far, they've just tried to put it in behind Southend's wing backs and drag those centre halves out there. In that case, it was Gubbins took it on his chest, tried to get up the line, but unfortunately knocked it out for this throw-in. But at the moment, Gateshead going, well, we don't want to play an hour half at the minute, we'll just push as far up as we can and push Southend back.
Gateshead all changed. I would say Richardson and John and Chapman are the only two players in this starting 11 that started all the way back in August. Harry Taylor spotted a run from Andy Dallas, but Story, the player coach, able to head it out of play. Scott Morris hoping to catch them napping, but not to be.
Yeah, it was a good run from Dallas, and as we said before, it made up Harry Taylor's mind. He knew exactly where Andy Dallas wanted it, just maybe 5 yards short.
Taylor's done well to ensure that Scott Morris's error doesn't lead to a chance on goal for Chadwick. So he got to a ball first from the throw-in backwards, and actually Southend have worked themselves to about 10 yards from the byline. Plenty of seats I can spot on the lower level of the Frank Walton stand to my left, but the east stand well packed out, as is the west stand. Few blue seats dotted on the wings. North bank tightly packed, and I counted about 12 Gateshead fans that have made the journey up on this midweek evening game. Scott Morris whipping a crossing at the near post, but Debois there to ensure it doesn't cause any problems for Gateshead. He's whipped the ball down the wing though for Chadwick to chase, but Taylor and Gubbins will sweep this back into Southend possession, but Chapman poking the toe into the air to ensure Scott Morris doesn't bring it to ground. 3 minutes in, no goals.
Yeah, and at least that time Blues were nice and solid at the back. They had all the areas covered, so that ball needed to be about 20 yards further to cause Harry Taylor any problems, and there was cover around him anyway, even if it did.
Kendall brought the ball under control. Austin tried to chase this. By this point, back in August, Sam Austin had scored Southend's first goal of the season. First onto a shot by Josh Walker outside the penalty area, ricocheting off the bottom of the left upright. Walker able to poke it into the net. The Gateshead have possession in Southend's half through Chadwick. First time he's faced Southend this season. Second time he's travelled to Roots Hall was on the bench for Scunthorpe in their 2-0 win here in September. Southend's first defeat of the season at home, that was. This is Bowen all the way back to Louis Story. I say joining the club again in January from Dorking Wanderers. Scott Morris and Golding bring the ball to ground alongside Taylor, who will clear this down the wing into Kendall, who's constantly trying to make the defenders work to win the ball back, although they are doing that. Bowen trying to thread away into Boatswain, really clever, but Gubbins has swept that up, and the man born in Colchester, part of the Ipswich Academy on loan to Gateshead, not able to get onto that chance.
It was a good ball into him, and he tried to just let it run around on the outside of him, but it was good cover from Joe Gubbins. He tucked in nice and tight, because the pass had taken Golding out of it, and if Gubbins is too wide and asleep there, the lad's in, but he came in nice and tight. He got himself in a good covering position. Decent pass though. Yeah,
really. We've spotted through the eye of the needle on the right shoulder, behind the right shoulder of Boatswain, the 20-year-old. Gateshead played this backwards all the way to the keeper. Got 9 clean sheets in 33 games in the National League South with Slough Town this season, former club of Leon Paralon and Slavi Spazov. Their paths didn't cross on the other side of London. Wow, ball is whipped down the right wing. Surely. Chadwick's chasing this against Golding, and the flag does go up. Paul Clark preempting that flag from Isabel Chaplin. It'll be a restart for Southend.
Yeah, he made a good run, but he just got on the wrong side of Golding just a little bit too early. But again, as Dallas did for Blues there, just running along the line, asking the defender questions, and Golding just leaving him there. So, well, you're offside at the moment. If he plays it now, I know you're offside, but I'm not going to let you just run away from me, because then you might step back again. So it's good defending, good run and good defending.
Billy Chadwick making that run, joining from York in January. In fact, there have been at least 9 players that have joined Gateshead since the turn of the year. They've used the most players of any team in the National League, with 43.
Well, the lot they had before weren't doing much, were they?
They weren't, no. They were almost rooted to the bottom at times.
So you would change them if you could.
Yeah. Well, Southend have used the joint least players with 25. That will change if we see a debut off the bench from Noah Mawani. It's Colin Ndengendi taking his time with this goal kick. Straight out of play, and Rob Elliott showing why he was a Premier League goalkeeper with Newcastle United, as he plucked that one out as it came towards him. There's a good record actually in the National League, as they won the conference as a player with Accrington Stanley in 2006 and guided Gateshead to that FA Trophy win in 2024. Took them to third, took them into the playoffs as well, but they weren't allowed to compete because they didn't have a tenure on the stadium. Meanwhile, Southend have won possession. Now they're charging through. Ollie Coker with space for the first time. Out to the right wing with Scott Morris, but there's too much on it for him to chase down, and it will be out for a throw-in. But that's the first time Ollie Coker's really had room to run at this Gateshead team, and they were backing off.
They were, and Charlie Kendall again was just beyond the defender, so Ollie couldn't play him, and then Gus was trying to make the overlapping run, and just he went forward, and then the defender went with him, so Gus checked just at the moment that Ollie knocked the ball into what was supposed to be into his path.
Scott Morris and Taylor bring this to ground from a throw-in for Gateshead, all the way back to Ndengendi. His first time clearance, finds his way to the centre circle. Austin sneaks in. Andy Dallas had a pass to Charlie Kendall, but he was having his shirt dragged by Radcliffe. Andy Dallas continues to carry this into the penalty area. He's on the left side of it, inside the marking. Out to Harry Boys, will try to whip this into the middle, but will it sneak out of play? Yes, it will.
Could be a little caution here, I think. The referee certainly might have a word with someone, because Charlie Kendall, when they broke away, didn't only have his shirt pulled, he was hoiked to the ground to stop him making progress. Whether the referee's just going to have a word with somebody.
Now Richard Carter, so originally the fourth official.
Can't find him at the moment.
He's having a look at, I mean, there's enough players in claret and blue, might be able to find them. Here he comes now. It's Ben Radcliffe, joined on loan from Crawley Town, February, having played under Rob Elliott.
I'll tell you what,
just a word of warning.
As a defender, you're delighted with that.
Yeah, he's just had a word of warning from
he's 30 yards away, they're chasing back towards their own goal. He pulled Charlie Kendall down to the ground so he can't get away from him, and doesn't even get a caution.
So the corner from the left wing on the far side. Boys whipping this in, waits at the near post. Kendall does get a head onto it, but it's been taken away by John, and the goalkeeper's able to get this straight out. Chadwick's been found by Chapman, driving into the penalty area. He's found room for himself, and Ndengendi with a big save, got a big left foot out. Chadwick tried to play that into the bottom right corner, all on his own in the penalty area, but a massive save from Colin Ndengendi with 9.5 minutes in, still 0-0, but Gateshead suddenly on the attack, having scythed through the middle of Southend. Chapman, left side of the penalty area, checks, will get the run behind him from Chadwick, who's shooting again, but it's straight at Golding, who's able to clear away, and all of a sudden Gateshead find their shooting feet. Our first 2 shots of the game.
Right, first thing, well done Colin and Ndengendi. Great save. The defending was atrocious. I mean, Cav Miley is getting run 1-against-1. Harry Taylor ran behind him for the lad that's running across towards the corner flag, so that the lad just turns inside Miley and he's looking at Colin Ndengendi with nobody on him. He's just got to go, no, if you want to go out towards the corner flag, and he plays the ball at you out there, I'm delighted.
Brad Nicholson, long throw from this left wing. Golding able to deal with it. Scott Morris getting up to sweep up to it as he gets this down the right wing. Kendall tries to get there first, but Kenton Richardson muscles him off the ball. He was like he was swatting a fly there, Kenton Richardson, against Charlie Kendall. As Gateshead play this down the wing, Boatswain trying to shield the ball on the edge of the penalty area, but Southend's Golding able to clear away. Dallas is headed forward, but no one else in dark blue around him, so Ben Radcliffe avoiding a booking early on. It's quite clearly dragging back Charlie Kendall, sweeping away, although Southend have it back in their own half. Coker drifting from right to left towards the centre circle. No goals if you're just joining us on BBC Essex Sport. Harry Boyes again has the option to take the man on, decides to poke it towards to Austin. Gubbins venturing over the halfway line, will lift this for Kendall, gets a head onto it, but it's onto Louis Story, and Gateshead have possession back across the defence.
Could Harry Boyes not have played that ball a lot earlier to Sam Austin, even if he got it back? Because Sam's then dragging people away. That's a great ball.
It's out to the right corner. Question is, Kenton Richardson, the right back, is the one chasing this into the corner flag.
Well done, Harry Boyes.
Yeah, couldn't get the nutmeg, could he? Well dealt with.
Oops.
As the ball bounces, Charlie Kendall will ensure he gets there ahead of John and accelerates away down the left wing. He's gone beyond Louis Story. He's got Andy Dallas in the middle. Charlie Kendall plays it across the penalty area, and as he made the cross, Ben Radcliffe getting a limb onto it to put it over the byline, and it's a corner kick. If anything, Paul Clark, it's a very open game at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit end to end, isn't it? And that's what you want to see with Charlie Kendall, especially against Story at the back there. Just take them on. You got green grass in front of you, loads of it. Just knock the ball by him and have a race. You're going to win it.
Yeah, Louis Story, the 32-year-old oldest player, probably out on the field at the moment. This is Coker whipping in from the far wing. It's punched away by Debois with his left hand. Don't know how he got that much power on it, to be honest. Austin has fed it away to Golding, right side of the penalty area. Wants to play this in himself. Andy Dallas picks it up in the area, shoots, but it's to the right of goal. Well wide of the area inside the 6-yard box. It would have been a really tight angle to squeeze that in. Went for power, went for top right corner, but it's behind the goal, still 0-0.
Well, it was a really tight angle after his first touch. I'd love to see that again, because it looked to me could have kept it tighter to himself and made it a much bigger goal in front of him. But as you say, his first touch took it so wide, he's having to almost spin back on himself.
Gateshead clearly trying to drag the Southend defenders towards the left, with Boatswain and Chadwick sitting in the offside position alongside Chapman, and it means that when it comes out from the left wing, they work it down the right. As Radcliffe threads this into the penalty area, Chadwick's got there ahead of Gubbins, plays it across the penalty area, but it's straight at Ndeng, who was confident.
Yeah, that's again good goalkeeping, because too often their goalkeepers stay on the line. If we can come out, Gus Scott Morris this side, but Blues gone the other way.
Yeah, it's good stuff actually from Sam Austin. He's brought it into Charlie Kendall, drifting in field, gets beyond the defender, poked towards Andy Dallas. Southend still in possession. He goes down in the penalty area, but Story too strong, says Paul Clark. He's trying to come away with the ball. Oh, this might fall to Scott Morris to shoot first time, but it's over the crossbar, smacks against the scoreboard, and those pockets becoming gaping holes between both of these sides at the moment as it goes from end to end, but no goals still.
Yeah, it was just, as I say, Story there, it was just a big old unit, held his ground, let the player come onto him and just pushed him out of the way. Just got one little problem at the moment for a Gateshead defender there, took a little knock.
Ben Radcliffe had a busy opening 15 minutes, the loanee from Crawley Town. Just noticing Kevin Mayer and Mark Bentley and in the technical area. I mean, stern words with the fourth official. I was not expecting such a busy night. As Debois' goal kick is met by Boatswain, but he can't find another Gateshead player, so Southend's Miley hooks it to Scott Morris, who probably had the option out on the left wing with Harry Boyes, but instead goes back to Taylor. Now it gets played across the defence from right to left in front of the west stand. Dallas
good,
able to get past two players and get on the turn. Scott Morris in acres of space on this right wing, found by Dallas, first time into Ollie Coker, but well read by Brad Nicholson of Gateshead, who cuts out that move and what would have surely been a clear shot on goal for Ollie Coker. Still 0-0.
Well, we could see that pass. Unfortunately, so could Nicholson. He read it particularly well, and it was the right ball for Gus to try.
Second time Brad Nicholson facing Southend this season, is in the starting 11 for Solihull Moors.
Brilliant from Andy Dallas there, by the way, when the ball was played into him. That's what I was talking about earlier, receiving it when you're marked, received it and spun away from the defender and opened everything up.
He must have been picturing the the orange statues that they use in the warm-ups. High ball from left to right, and Joe Gubbins. Soft. Too much for Scott Morris.
Soft. Just drop it into that space. You're not trying to hit Gus Scott Morris there. You're just trying to drop it into that space. Go on, Gus, run onto that, and he probably will.
Well, no goals after 16 minutes here at Roots Hall.
Not for the one trying, is it?
Exactly. But as I say, it is so much more different to the first 15 minutes we've seen against Truro and against Carlisle. Southend are coming out and attacking. Yes, Gateshead are doing the same, and it is leaving gaps, but they're having a go here, Paul.
Yeah, both sides. I think it's been a very entertaining opening 15-16 minutes.
It is. Not quite a packed out Roots Hall, but plenty to keep beady, eager eyes on for the fans packed in on the south coast of Essex. Zendengan-D gets the ball headed back to him by Scott Morris. Will take his time before launching this to the right side of the centre circle on this near side. The headers from Miley. This actually find its way to Charlie Kendall. He's chased this in the right side of the penalty area in his bright green boots. Back to Scott Morris to shoot first time, but it's straight at the keeper. Scott Morris, right idea there.
There's good play from both. Ollie Cogan made the run in behind, and then when he sets it back, he's played it at just the weight to say, go on, go and hit that. And
Scott Morris will always take those on.
I was going to say, Gus is loath to turn anything down like that, and got his shot on the target, asked questions.
Yeah, something of a goal drought by Gus Scott Morris's standards. Hasn't scored since the third against Brackley Town. If he doesn't score in this game, it'll be his longest without a goal since November. The joint top scorer in all competitions for Southend on 11. Dallas joined him on that number. We'll bring out an apology for any technical difficulties if he's experienced here on BBC Essex Sport, which we are working on. James Golding brings this to ground. Although Gateshead Chadwick tries to get it off him, but Miley sweeps back to Zendengan-D. This is BBC Essex Sport on all frequencies. Warren Muggleton and former Blues player and manager Paul Clark at Roots Hall under the floodlights.
Well played.
Nicholson lifts this. Golding's beaten Boatswain to that one. Probably first time Boatswain's lost out on a header. And now Golding's intercepted. Really sharp stuff from the Oxford United loanee on his second spell with the club.
Yeah, quick feet and long legs. Did really well there. The second one he was having to stretch for a little bit, but still managed to control it.
Harry Boyes wants room for a cross, instead poked forward to Sam Austin. Now Boyes has room for the cross. A bit of deflection from Radcliffe's toe as it loops into the air and into the grateful grasp of Adam Desbois.
Again, not entirely convinced it couldn't have gone in first time when it was set back from Sam Austin, but they decided to play another 1-2. That's going to get cut out.
This has been cut out by Sam Austin. Is he going to score against Gateshead again? No, he won't. They tried to play it short, Gateshead, from the back. Sam Austin thinking it was August all over again. Got into the penalty area, shot on the penalty spot, but Desbois, the 25-year-old, getting down quickly to his left and ensure the ball trickles over the byline, and it's a corner kick for Southend, still goalless, but the best chance yet.
It's a great chance, really is a great chance, and just needed a little bit of goal, stick the keeper on his backside, and I think the manager's having a word with him now, saying, hey, look, tell him just to keep putting it in the corners for a minute.
Coker's playing for right, so aimed at Andy Dallas's head as he was jumping into play. A couple of goals going in across the National League as well. Eastleigh with a 1-0 lead over Brackley at the Silver Lake Stadium. Boreham Wood leading Woking at the Laithwaites. Matt Rush on the scoreboard once again. He's having a flying season.
These are the times when I have to laugh, because you'll see supporters saying, like when the lad Mason made the mistake Saturday, why don't we get luck like that? By the way, we do. We just had it. We didn't capitalise on it, and everybody forgets about it.
Taylor with a orbital header from the goal kick back into Gateshead territory. Southend just starting to poke at Gateshead, starting to ask those questions of the Heed defenders. As Boyes launches this, Dallas gets his run right against Story, wants to loop the keeper. Oh, Andy Dallas! Brilliant. That's stunning!
That's brilliant.
That is unbelievable from Andy Dallas. Wow! I say orbital, that's the perfect way to describe Andy Dallas. A looped pass from Harry Boyes from the left wing. Andy Dallas lets it bounce, shoots with his left foot outside the penalty area, spotting Desbois off his line. And Andy Dallas does what Andy Dallas does, finding goals, and that is his most stunning score yet. Southend United 1, Gateshead 0.
Well, that's absolutely magnificent. The run was perfectly timed to get himself in that position. Great awareness to know that he's got the space, he's seen the keeper come off the line, and then to have the ability at that pace, then to just first touch, half spin, lob it over the goalkeeper. Great technique, great piece of skill, wonderful goal, absolutely brilliant.
Liquid gold is what I think some would call it. How many yards would you put that at, Paul? Say 20, 25 yards?
Oh, on the angle is 25, 30 yards.
Andy Dallas spotting his moment and showing courage and leadership and taking it on. And how much that will do for Andy Dallas is, I mean, he's all confident as he is anyway. Such a level-headed guy. You hear it on his interviews on the club feed on BBC Sounds. But I know he gets frustrated when he's not amongst the goals. But now he's scored in consecutive games.
But you know what I was saying about not being afraid to miss? That's what I'm talking about. Things like that where you go, well, if he puts that wide or puts it over the bar, he's in that much space and he's one against, he's all on his own really. And everybody goes, oh, Dallas, why don't you control it? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Was prepared to take it on and just go, you know what, it's on, I'm good enough to do it, and he proved it. Brilliant goal, absolutely brilliant.
What is it about Southend scoring looping goals against Gateshead? Charlie Kendall did the same thing back in August. Again, the goalkeeper gave it away on that occasion, but this was perfectly architected from the left wing. Coker now has room but can't turn to face the opposition goal. Scott Morris back to Golding.
The other thing as well, they exploited something that's been evident basically from probably about the 5th minute. This back three are nice and solid, but they cannot live with any pace going in behind, and that's Andy Dallas just went, okay, I'll just run along the line, because if it goes in behind, I know I'm going to be first to it. And then what he did with it once he got there was absolutely exquisite.
Well, let's call it a back five if you include the keeper. Bar Kenton Richardson, there is only 26 appearances for Gateshead across that back four, which tells you that they're still learning each other, aren't they? And that is an opportunity to be capitalised on for Southend. They won't like things coming at pace because they're not 100% sure who's where.
I was going to say, it kind of doesn't matter how many games you play together. If the centre forward's quicker than you three, and you leave space behind you, great skill from Gav Miley.
He did well. He almost caught the chest of a Gateshead player, but still managed to win the ball back. Scott Morris can't keep the ball in.
Yeah, if someone's got more pace than you, and you get exploited like that, as they were there, it's a great big space in what would be their wing-back position that the ball was played into for Andy Dallas to run into. Don't matter how long you've been playing together, lad's just going to run away from you. But it's what he did when he got there, Andy Dallas. That was the real impressive thing.
That is why Southend wanted to bring him on loan from Barnsley. Andy Dallas under the floodlights of Roots Hall, effulgent and shining bright with that scintillating moment for the Blues. It's Gateshead with possession, down a goal.
Good run.
High down the left wing. Scott Morris just heading now how to play, and the offside flag's gone against Billy Chadwick. Second time he's been caught offside today, Paul.
Yeah, well, he's trying to play off of the shoulder of James Golding, and then he has to run at either Harry Taylor and Gubbins and then bend his run in. Just keeps going a fraction too early. He's just got to bend the run a little bit more. Keep going flat until the ball's actually delivered and then bending. He's going just as the lad's head goes down, so the timing's not quite right for him.
And Dengendy with the goal kick. I'm sure Andy Dallas's goal will quickly be making its way around social media. I can't wait to watch that one again and again during the half-time break. James Golding loops this forwards, but to no man in dark blue in particular. Straight to Gateshead Richardson, back to Debois, who now has the North Bank behind him, just making sure there's a little voice in the back of his head questioning the decisions he's making. Miley ensures to win the ball back for Southend. Coker sweeping up, although Boatswain getting his body in the way for Gateshead, who now move it out to the left wing. Bowen into Chapman, the former Barnet man, won the National League with them last season. Nicholson with the overlapping run with his 4-4-2 formation. Bowen, and all of a sudden just the Gateshead defenders maybe a little bit exposed. Works out to Richardson. and Louis Story. This is Fenton John, most appearances in the squad, 39 this season. Oh, and a little turn away from Austin. That's how actually Austin caught him back when he had a shot inside the penalty area. It was Louis Story on the turn and Sam Austin snuck in behind him. Story's high ball into Gubbins, although the header won by Boatswain, and took a bit out of Gubbins when he won the header as well. He's a big presence up front. This is Scott Morris, tries to find a man in front of him down the right wing. Nicholson all the way back to the goalkeeper, Deswar. Kendalls keeps chasing this, but as Paul Clark said, it is very much approved, and I'm sure the fans will be saying the same around us. Although Gubbins has found a way into Andy Dallas. Scott Morris is all on his own on the right wing, found by Andy Dallas. Is this a chance for a second for Southend? Scott Morris with the cross to the far post. Austin had left it. If he'd have got anything onto that one, he would have threatened the goal, but it trickles over the byline, and it's a goal kick for Gateshead. Still 1-0 to Southend.
All starts Charlie Kendall rushing at the goalkeeper. Doesn't give him time to get his head up, doesn't get him time to get the ball out of his feet. He lumps it forward. Joe Gubbins picks it up in 20 yards of space, and now they can set, and 2 balls later they're having a chance at goal, and that comes from the Charlie Kendall doing the work early.
Goal apiece between Wealdstone and Tamworth at Grosvenor Vale. As Gateshead try to respond to going behind. This is Bowen, spreads away to Chadwick, and falls backwards into John, and now the Southend fans chanting and singing with that lead at Roots Hall. Tottenham 1-0 down in Spain against Atletico Madrid. Then last time Andy Dallas scored in consecutive games for Southend United, you have to go all the way back to September when he scored against Boston and Eastleigh.
You're giving him that goal from Saturday, are you?
Well, it was. He said he thought it was off target. I don't know. You have to have a look back at it. Never know. Either way, the own goal that counted was that equaliser. This all come from the bravery. All come from taking the chance. That's why Southend.
He's a proper striker. He will claim it.
Oh, he did. He definitely did.
Good lad. Tell you what, the defender don't want it.
I know the Gateshead players, as soon as they get on the position out wide, Boys is straight onto Richardson. He got to run a couple of times on Harry Boys, but Boys has become wise to that now. Well, I say that, we'll see if that's the case with this long kick from Debois, but it's straight down the middle at Ndengendi.
So again, that's what we were talking about early on. Just do the closing down early before they get the chance to play it to someone. Can't always do it, but if you can get them to get their heads up and just see everybody marked around them.
Taylor under pressure from Chapman, but threads away to Golding, whose ball is lifted over the top. Kendall will get there. Austin making a run down the middle. There's a miscue from the defender for Gateshead. Charlie Kendall's in, cuts round one defender, round two, but can't get the shot away because Louis Story had snuck in with a big tackle. Ben Radcliffe knew he had Kendall behind him, but he miscued the pass backwards. Kendall with the acceleration decided to cut inside. It allowed Louis Story to slide in. Personally, I think Kendall could have shot with that with his right foot, but it remains 1-0.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Should have hit it on his right foot. I know why he's trying to cut inside. He wants to sell the defender, but why do you want to sell the defender when the goal's standing up? His ball's played in behind.
Miscommunication between Gubbins and Boys. Boatswain sneaking in. The Gateshead put a ball into the middle. It's cleared away, not far though. Richardson, right side of the penalty area on the far side, will play the cross in, but it's straight at Colin and Ndengendi, and the Gateshead threat dissipates. Still 1-0, but yeah, absolutely. He wants to draw them in, but I've seen Kendall shoot more often with his right foot. I'm surprised he didn't just try and drill that into the bottom right corner or even across the goal.
It's not like Story was in front of him blocking the shot in the first place.
He ran about 2 miles to make that tackle.
Absolutely. So the chance was there to get the shot away. It was probably an awful lot easier than what he tried to do. Still.
Referee Richard Carter just coming over to have a quick word with the defender Nicholson, and now Rob Elliott, the manager for Gateshead, getting involved in the conversation. It's becoming a frank exchange of views down there.
Yeah, there'll be one winner to that, won't there?
Yeah, I suspect there would be. Kevin Mayer just taking the chance to get his players into position. Wants his first win against Rob Elliott. Rob Elliott's come here twice with Gateshead and won, and had a draw.
What's the betting, Will? That's not the last we'll hear of that conversation.
I suspect there will be a couple of more correspondences between the two of them. Richardson has to go back. Tottenham now 2-0 down at the Wanda Metropolitano in Spain. Oh, back at the EBB Stadium, Carlisle United with a 1-0 lead over Aldershot. From Atletico to Aldershot. I think there's a book to be written there, Paul Clark. Meanwhile, Deswa has to loop to Nicholson, wearing his long dark hair in a bun. 3-0 now, my goodness, the goal's flying in for the Spaniards against Tottenham. Saw a video of Mauricio Pochettino making the flight over to Spain, Madrid, alongside some Tottenham fans, but looks like the misery continuing to pile on for the Spurs. You can keep across all of that on the BBC Sport website. This is lifted by Gateshead, who have enjoyed some possession in their own half. Found their way to Richardson down the right wing, taking on Joe Gubbins. Cuts in field and around him, but Harry Boyes tracking back to help his teammate. And Gubbins just getting beaten on a couple of occasions by Kenton Richardson. Harry Boyes showing some skills to play a ball down the left wing. And believe it or not, after 33 minutes, this is the first time the referee has blown up for a foul against either side, and it's against Southend United on the right wing side.
Yeah, as you say, Joe Gubbins got exposed a little bit there, and when the lad got some space and then turned back. Great recovery run from Harry Boyes though. Coming back, lad doesn't see him coming up behind him. Harry just nicks it off him. Really good defensive work, because he'd gone and done what we'd asked him to do, go and close down the defender when they had the ball deep in their half. So it was a long run back for him.
Keaton Ward lining up this free kick in his orange boots on the right wing on the far side, midway through Southend territory, 5 yards from the wing. Scored a stunning stoppage time curling effort to beat Braintree 1-0 this time last week. Ward, free kick. Ward is headed on again by Boatswain. It will be a goal kick. I thought it was aimed going towards the far post on the right side of the penalty area, but ended up being edged a 6-yard box in front of Ndengendi. Header met by Boatswain at the second one as it looped up, but he couldn't get it on target, so I'll put that down as a shot on goal, but it is still 1-0 to Southend.
It looked a better chance, whether he just got faced around the wrong way or whatever, but they certainly got first touch on it, which was good for them. But thankfully for Blues, because he looked like he had a little bit of space, not acres of space, but it was almost unchallenged, but thankfully he couldn't reach it.
And Ndengendi's goal kick spinning out to the right wing. Scott Morris gets a boot on it as he goes to ground under Nicholson's pressure, but Southend have won this back again into Austin. Ball just stops behind him, but Coker there to carry on its forward momentum. Boys threaded to Coker, that's a good pass in, but it's played out to the right wing. Gubbins playing the cross in, it's aimed at Scott Morris. The clearance edge of the penalty area to Southend's Coker. This is the Blues putting pressure on again with 11 minutes of normal time left in this first half, leading 1-0. Boyes and Coker, excellent combination. Boyes has been dragged down by Richardson, left side of the penalty area, and a free kick for Southend, but that was sublime from the two of them.
That'll be a booking, wouldn't it?
You'd have thought so.
But
it is. Paul Clark, you're at it again, reading the game for. Have you seen this game before?
It's lovely to see the 1-2. Again, asked for it before the game. It's ball into feet, carry the run, all you do is help it round the corner. Defender's just got done for pace, turned the wrong way, as nearly everybody does, and he's left with no option but to pull him down.
So Ollie Coker to take this free kick, left side of the penalty area, far wing in front of the Blues seats in the west stand. A couple of dotted Southend fans on that north area of the west stand, with a packed out north bank to Ollie Coker's left. A two-man wall to aim at. Only Harry Taylor and Harry Boyes not in the penalty area for this free kick. Miley just moving away from it. How he'd love a strike from distance on his 150th appearance. Now the banging of the drums starts around Roots Hall. Coker continuing to assess his options. Now the referee blows his whistle. Hand goes up, Coker. Oh, and he had a lot of time to think about that and ended up putting it well over the byline, and it will be a goal kick for Gateshead.
I bet that didn't go through his mind though.
Yeah, something he didn't quite calculate for there, as he goes back to putting some of his pristine dark locks back into shape. Must be thinking, whereabouts was that one?
He's just trying to whip it in. He wants it going in at pace, but just got underneath it. And when you hit it that hard, trying to put pace on, there's no margin of error.
Goalkeeper's played this straight to Sam Austin. He had to put a short pass from his teammate. Coker wants to cut inside to shoot on his right foot. A couple of deflections, and it was aimed for the bottom left corner, but Devois got straight down to it. They all started from Southend's Dallas and Kendall being on the edge of the penalty area. It was played short into the keeper from Story to push it down the field, but it ended up straight at Sam Austin, and Southend came straight back at them.
Tell me, where did Gateshead get their joy in the first 5-10 minutes?
Well, from putting the pressure on.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden they want to take goal kicks and free kicks in their own 6-yard box, putting themselves under pressure.
Lovely work from Southend, working this from right to left. Coker and Boys combining. Coker shooting, little deflection on the way, and it will be a corner kick for Southend on this right side in front of us on the east bank.
And you've got to give Blues a lot of credit, because they're winning all the second balls all over the park at the moment. And where we said early on that Gateshead were wanting to play in the Southend half, which they did for the first 10 minutes or so, it's all one-way traffic at the moment. Southend keeping them pressed deep in their own half.
Exactly echoes what Kevin Mayer was saying in the post-match, certainly against Carlisle and Truro, about those first halves of winning second balls, getting onto that. You can hear his interview where he said we've got to do our job at both ends on the BBC Sounds club feed. Harry Boys, just before he takes this corner kick, and a little slip on the slick turf at Roots Hall.
It's just that little slope in that corner there.
Boys aims for the near post. Kendall tries to get something on it. He'll keep it in play. Lovely drive back. He's actually still in possession here. Cross blocks. We'll go back to Harry Boys. Head into Sam Austin. Cross into the far post. Cleared away. Gubbins attempting the shot. Coker with the volley. Oh, and it's to the left of goal. Coker's scored from those distances before, as it came out of the air, first time with his right boot, just to the left of goal, and it'll be a goal kick at Southend. Feeling like there's a second goal before half-time, Paul.
That was a good strike from him as well. And yeah, just sheer numbers in and around the box, and it's everything that Gateshead can do at the moment to stay with people, to win the balls in and around their box, and they're having to get so many numbers back there that the blue shirts can queue up around the 18-yard box, and anything coming out there, they're favourites to win and get the shot away as they did there.
Tamworth leading Wealdstone at Grosvenor Vale now 2-1. And how's about this for a score in the Champions League? Atletico Madrid 4, Spurs 0. All the goals coming in the first 22 minutes, as the goalkeeper for Tottenham, Kinski, has been substituted after 17 minutes.
Made substitutions quicker than that before now, don't worry.
Bayern Munich leading Atalanta 3-0. No goals at St James's Park between Newcastle and Barcelona. All of those scores on the BBC Sport website. Highlights on the BBC Sport website tomorrow and on the iPlayer. Southend working the ball down the left wing into Sam Austin, who's finding room to roam around the Gateshead defenders. Boys taking on Radcliffe. Cross along the grass, intercepted by Gateshead's captain. Tries to send this down the right wing onto the head of Gubbins. As Boys in close quarters, the pair exchanging passes, but given away by Gubbins. And now Gateshead will look to counter, but no one really going at pace at the moment. Chapman gives Scott Morris something to think about, and there's lots of space for Chapman as Nicholson decides instead to turn backwards. Southend will gladly take that sort of play against them, Paul.
Absolutely, and was it Sam Austin when he won that one there? Sure, he could have just carried going forward and then played and bounced it off Andy Dallas, but decided to put his foot on it and then slow it down and go wide again. Looked a really good opportunity to get at them while they was a little bit disjointed from an attempted attack, because they haven't had too many of them of late.
Scott Morris goes down, went for the header. Boatswain judged to have left an elbow in as he went for the challenge. As Scott Morris stays down, there will be a free kick for Southend, 5 yards shy of the halfway line on their right wing on this near side.
Yeah, Boatswain saying, don't know what he's talking about, I never touched him. Laughing at him, look.
Ashley Boatswain, the 20-year-old, born in Colchester, joining Gateshead from the Ipswich Town Academy. Previously playing at Woking, actually was a sub against Southend in that 1-1 draw at the beginning of November. So many of the players at Gateshead feel a bit of deja vu facing Southend.
Listen, I know it's a silly thing, but I don't get this. Why is Colin, he's what, 10, 15, 10 yards from the halfway line? Why do you want him taking free kicks there when everyone moans that he's not particularly good with his feet, or he's not great with his feet, and dead balls and whatever?
Well, his kick's found its way to the penalty area on the left side. Gateshead cleared their lines, but only as far as Sam Austin edged the final third on that far wing.
I don't just mean Colin, I mean all goalkeepers. You know, obviously some of them in the Premier League these days have got great feet, but Golding comes forward.
Yeah, he's got room to drive forward. Kendall into Coker. Scott Morris right side of the penalty area, plays the cross into the middle. Kendall's just had the glancing header, but it's just beyond him and into the gloves of Adam Despois. Still 1-0 to Southend. Just over 3 minutes of normal time left in this first half.
Thanks.
Nicholson for Gateshead.
Yeah, keeper threw a ball out to Nicholson. About 3 players closing him down.
And intercepted by Sam Austin, but his poke into Miley is not met. Ward into Chadwick, but
ball.
Really well read by Joe Gubbins. Golding lifting this for Charlie Kendall. Missed the header, but Story's header falls to the path of Scott Morris, who aims for Dallas, but intercepted by Gateshead's Radcliffe. And again, the Heed play it across the defensive line. That's a 4th best form in the National League for Gateshead in the last 6 games. 1-4, drawn 1, lost 1. They've only picked up 3 points of 33 available against the top 8 sides. That was a solitary win at Halifax Town in February. Oh, boys have snuck in against Keaton Ward. He's been very quiet in this game. Saw him start for Altrincham in the 3-0 win back in November. He was a lively character, but has been very quiet for Gateshead. As Gateshead again tried to play it across the defence, Sam Austin trying to chase the ball down. It is intercepted by Ollie Coker. Deflection into the path of Andy Dallas. He'll lift it for Sam Austin. Intercepted by Nicholson. Scott Morris gets a touch, but it's heavy just outside the penalty area, and Gateshead will look to work out the back through Chadwick and Chapman. Again, it goes backwards. And again, it's just what you were talking about, Paul. It was Southend putting the squeeze on Gateshead to force the error, which came, although rumours suddenly emerged for Bowen outside the penalty area. So shoots into the corner, but Ndengendi down to his left. Hasn't had a lot to do, Ndengendi, but he kept sharp when that shot came in from distance. Corner kick.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? That's the first time since probably the opening 10 minutes that they've actually got it at the back and gone long and hit in behind. And all of a sudden, yeah, exactly. And it was a good save from Colin. Not just the fact that he's managed to get a hand on it, but big enough hand and strong enough hand to turn it out for this corner. Be easy just to block that and it drops back in for someone following in, but it was a good save.
Yeah, Sam Bowen to take this corner, right-footed from the right corner in front of the West Stand. And towards the edge of the 6-yard box, Nicholson climbing for the header,
goal.
And it's in. And it's just gone beyond Ndengendi. There's barely any celebration you can hear because there's only 12 Gateshead fans that are in the stands, and it's just stunned silence around Roots Hall. Straight from the training ground, corner kick from the right side. Nicholson, I think, was the one who won the header, and Colin Ndengendi can't stop that from sneaking underneath the crossbar. And with 30 seconds left of this first half, Gateshead have equalised. Southend United 1, Gateshead 1.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? All that time they try to play it about at the back and brought pressure on themselves, and they go in behind, one long ball in behind. Colin makes a really good save. The corner, as you say, off the training ground, they almost get a conga going there from the penalty spot. There's just a big crowd of bodies, and that's a looping header. And whether Colin was on his front foot sort of thinking, oh, should I be coming, and just setting himself, looped over the top of him, and you'd be disappointed that drops in. You'd think a keeper of that size would just be able to get up and tip that over the crossbar. Well, no, I'd have to see it again. It's not fair to judge from this sort of distance first time.
A real shock for the fans. An additional 2 minutes to be played. It's Cav Miley stayed down.
Knock it off.
Harry Taylor back to Golding.
Knock it off.
And they put the pressure back. Miley is still down here, so Southend really, as Paul Clark says, need to get this out of play. But Cav Miley getting back to his feet just about as the ball goes out of play.
It was a 50-50 ball, and the lads, I think his left foot just trod on Cav as he was going for it, and that would have hurt. I don't know whether Cav was, his knee was off the ground, and the lad took his weight or Cav has taken his weight through his leg, but I don't think there was anything malicious about it. I think both of them just going for the ball. I just think the lad's standing leg, he's got to put his foot down, and he put it straight down on top of Cav.
Well, while Cav Miley received some treatment, I can confirm Brad Nicholson was the scorer of the equaliser for Gateshead. Corner from the right side, edge of the 6-yard box. Nicholson climbing highest, and as the ball loops, and Dengendy unable to stop that from sneaking under the crossbar, as it is 1-1. Cav Miley receiving treatment on the left knee. And you know, I did mention it, Paul Clark, about these Southend players on their milestone appearances. You go all the way back to Noor Hussain. He was on his 150th appearance when he picked up that ACL injury against Halifax Town.
Putting the buck on people, is it?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that one. You had Nathan Ralph on his 200th appearance against Scunthorpe United with his knee injury. Could be back before the last couple of games of the season. I was there for that one. And then Leon Paragon on his 50th appearance against Brackley Town, picking up an ankle injury which will keep him out for about 5 to 4 weeks.
I'm hoping with Cav it's just the impact of someone stepping on you, and if his leg's flat on the ground, yes, it's going to hurt, and the studs will rake down your legs and whatever, and it's going to bruise a little bit of dead leg, but
he is up on his feet.
It shouldn't be stretching tendons and ligaments and things like that, which you'd get if your leg is sort of at an angle and you end up taking the weight through a joint at the wrong angle. Hopefully he'll just be able to run that off. Fingers crossed.
Just having a look at the Gateshead fans, I think maybe more like 18, 19. There are a couple more making their way in late. It is a long journey from the northeast, but they have something to cheer. All square at 1-1. We are on 47 minutes 50 seconds, but I suspect we'll have another minute and 30 at least with the injury to Cav Miley. But he is back on his feet, but he's waiting on the wing, so Southend temporarily down to 10 men.
Ball.
Austin back to Gubbins, who's in the centre circle, far side, high towards the right wing for Andy Dallas to try and get a head onto, but Nicholson is there, supported by Chapman to ensure it doesn't go out of play. And Gateshead just seems to suddenly figured out if you play the balls in high and boats went onto them, and they can threaten Southend. Miley running back onto the field. And it's Fenton John back to Nicholson, the scorer of the equaliser, his first goal in a Gateshead shirt. This is Louis Story. Over to Nicholson, wearing some bright yellow boots, carrying the ball over the halfway line. Bowen on the left wing with room to roam, cuts inside onto his right foot. Chadwick, middle of Southend territory, and this is Gateshead looking threatening with the ball. All of a sudden defenders are now pressing a lot higher as well, but there's no time as the half-time whistle blows. Kevin Mayer straight down the tunnel. He will be livid at how that equaliser was conceded as we go in. Southend United 1, Gateshead 1. Southend on the front foot in what has been an open first half, and a chance going after 20 minutes. Boys lifting the ball into Andy Dallas from 25 yards from the byline, 30 yards from the goal line. First time lifted the ball over the keeper, who was off his line, in for his 12th goal of the season. But then with seconds left of normal time in the first half, a corner from the right wing on the far side onto the head of Brad Nicholson to loop underneath the crossbar. Colin and Dengendy left flapping at the ball, Paul Clark, and Southend will just be, I use that word, livid. It's how they will feel, because they've had so much control in this first half, but Gateshead have realised playing the high ball over the top and threatening down the wings at pace seems to be the way to get by Southend and get your opportunities.
How would they feel? Disappointed, probably baffled. I thought Gateshead started well, tried to play in Southend's half, went in behind a few times, and let's not forget, but for a really good save from Colin, 1-against-1 when the lads threw from 10 yards out, kept Southend level on terms at that time. They grew into the game and they started to dominate, and an absolute superb goal from Andy Dallas. Great run, great awareness, great technique, led to a great finish. And then Southend had more chances. I mean, Charlie Kendall, when he goes through, why he wants to try and put the defender on his backside when the defender's going to have to slide in from 10 yards away to try to get the block, and he's 6 yards from goal. Just get your shot away. Don't try and be clever and put everybody on their backside or whatever. But Southend dominated from that period, or for that period, and I was surprised at Gateshead because they went trying to play it in their own penalty area and knock it about. They weren't getting any joy. They were just bringing more and more problems onto themselves. And then they finally went, you know what, let's go and put a couple of balls behind them again. And it took a really good save from Colin to keep Blues in front. And then the corner comes along, and you'll point fingers and wonder who was marking the goal scorer, Richardson. Might look at the goalkeeper because it was a loopy sort of header, and you'd think it'd be easy enough to just get back and just tip it over the crossbar and defend the second corner. But they would be so disappointed because they basically dominated 30-35 minutes of that half. Could have been further ahead. It just gave them a simple equaliser. So they've got to do it all again now, because that will buoy Gateshead, because they will think now, well, look, we've gone behind and we know what we can do to go and hurt Southend, but things that we do that give us a chance and things that allow them to come on to us, going to be even more difficult in the second half. Next goal's vitally important.
It is. Well, we know what Southend are like in second halves of games at the moment. Paul Clark, thank you very much. Victoria Polly waiting to hear from you in the studio. Text 81333 or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Start your message with the word Essex. Southend United coming into this game as the second best defence in the National League, while Gateshead with the fifth least goals scored in the National League. But as we find ourselves, a last gasp chance for Gateshead means we're all square going into the break at Roots Hall. Southend United 1, Gateshead 1.
The home of Essex Sport.
On BBC Sounds.
Aiming for Scott Morris to get there. He's got a toe onto it and he'll head in. And Southend United have found the back of the net.
Throughout the football season, BBC Essex brings you commentary of every Colchester and Southend game. And now you can get all the latest news, insight and analysis on BBC Sounds. Search Colchester United or Southend United and click subscribe.
Feels like we're nearly men at the moment. Every time we get close, then we just don't quite execute. And I think that's why it feels so painful right now.
The home of Essex Sport.
On BBC Sounds.
Victoria Polly.
BBC Essex Sport. 17 minutes to 9, Victoria Polly with you on BBC Essex Sport, where Southend United all square at the break with Gateshead at Roots Hall. Rather stunned by that equaliser on the stroke of half-time. Will Southend United come to rue those missed chances in the first half? We'll bring you second half commentary from Roots Hall here on BBC Essex and the BBC Sport website. And my apologies as well if you were getting any interference in the programme and in the first half as well. We're giving everything a kick back here in the studio, and hopefully you should no longer get any interruptions. So we apologise for any technical difficulties and any difficulties you've had in hearing our commentary so far tonight. Back with Warren and Paul for the second half. Let me run you through the scores from elsewhere, because it has been quite a dramatic first half already in the Champions League. Let's start with the headline score. Atletico Madrid 4, Tottenham 1. Tottenham going 4-0 down inside 20 minutes, and keeper Kinsey substituted off as well. Really not going the way of Tottenham in that first leg. They have had a goal back through Pedro Porro, and they've hit the woodwork as well, but they've got to show some fight if they're to get back in that one. In the other 8 o'clock kickoff, it's 0-0 at St James's Park between Newcastle and Barcelona. Earlier, Liverpool beaten 1-0 by Galatasaray. Let me take you through the half-time scores in the Championship. It's Leicester 2, Bristol City 0, Millwall 1, Derby 0, Portsmouth 0, Swansea City 2, Sheffield Wednesday against Watford is goalless, and it's Wrexham 0, Hull 1. Latest score Stoke 1, Ipswich 0 from the later kickoff. League One scores 1-1 between Barnsley and Cardiff. It's Doncaster 0, Luton 1, Exeter 0, Lincoln City 1, Mansfield against Reading is goalless, Stevenage 1, Leyton Orient 1 and Wigan 0, Plymouth 2. Both of those goals coming for Bim Peppel, former Southend United loanee. In League 2, 4 games tonight, all half-time scores. Barrow 0, Bristol Rovers 1, Fleetwood 2, Cheltenham Town 0, Gillingham 0, MK Dons 3 and Salford against Walsall is goalless. The other scores in the National League games, Aldershot 0, Carlisle United 2, Eastleigh 1, Brackley 1, Scunthorpe against Sutton United is goalless. You know about Southend United 1, Gateshead 1, Wealdstone 2, Tamworth 2, Woking 0, Bournemouth 1. Matt Rush with the goal there. But Marley Marshall Miranda, the former Braintree Town midfielder, has been sent off for a second bookable offence in that one. Let's go into the local leagues then and check on the half-time scores. In the National South, it is Dorking Wanderers 0, Chelmsford City 0. Dorking sitting top of the table. Chelmsford could break into the playoff places if they can get all 3 points. Isthmian Premier bottom of the table, Canvey Island 0, Chichester City 1. And the games in the Isthmian North, goalless between Concord Rangers and Brightlingsea Regent. Grays Athletic and Wroxham also goalless. Mildenhall Town 0, Stanway Rovers 1. Takeley 1, Felixstowe and Walton United 3. Waltham Abbey 3, bottom of the table, Brantham Athletic 0 and Whittam 0, Lowestoft Town 1. We've also got games going on in the Essex Senior League and the Thurlow Nunn Division, so I'll bring you the full-time scores from them. If you want to react to what you've heard so far between Southend United and Gateshead, or if you're out and about watching your football elsewhere in the county and listening along to us tonight, you can let us know as well. 81333 on the text, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start your message with the word Essex. Well, we're keeping on the theme of Southend, but switching our attentions to the sport of rugby union, because the director of rugby at Southend Saxons Rugby Club says he'll be leaving his post at the end of the season. Josh Ward has spent 10 years at the club, 9 of those in the director role, and he's been telling BBC Essex's Ian Puckey about his decision.
An extremely difficult decision, and not one I made overnight. I think, the context of the situation, had some really good positive chats. And kind of looking forward, I think we've got a really exciting crop of players coming up and through. And I think in a nutshell, we the contract wasn't kind of forthcoming, and over a period of time, we kind of lacked alignment, I think. And that's sport. I'm not naive to it. It happens. I've got a lot of incredible memories at the club, and I'm committed to making sure we finish off as well as we can over the next 6 weeks.
And a sporting job, like any other job, it's got to be right for the employer. It's got to be right for the employee as well. And if the two aren't connected, then you can't force that, can you? Yeah,
absolutely. Look, I think we're in context of the situation of the season. We had an incredible first half of the season. Got ourselves into a really good place, and as I said, we had some really good chats. But as I said, things happen in sport, and people want different things at certain times, and no one's bigger than the club. And I think I had to get a hold of the situation on a personal level, for me moving forwards, and as I said, importantly the club. And I think for me, it's I want to make sure that the club's in a better place when I leave it than when I picked it up, and I'm proud of what we've done. It's been a hell of a ride, and as I said, I'm fully committed to the run-in and make sure we finish off as well as we can.
There's a bit of a tribute to you on the club website, and it you're saying about leaving it in a better place than when you found it. It says you took over a difficult time. Can you remember what it was like back then when you were taking the helm?
Yeah.
Vividly.
Yeah. No, look, it's one of those. I think the club was heavily in transition in terms of its staff and playing group, and naturally, I think when you have transition, you can perceive it in two different ways, can't you? It's either it's all doom and gloom and everything's against us, or it's a positive opportunity to get a hold of it and move it in a positive way. I think For me, we needed to get a culture and environment that everyone wanted to be a part of. That was always massive for me, and getting things right off the field, and being realistic that it was going to take time. Naturally, the brand of rugby at the time wasn't too clever. We obviously there was a relegation, in terms of the time it took, it was about getting small wins along the way. And I feel we got an infrastructure at the club where, look, everyone matters, that sense of value and importance. And I think for me, over the next 6 to 8 weeks, what I really want to do is enjoy the running, but also reminisce. And, as I said, the club's full of great people, and we've got some wonderful volunteers and staff, and I want to be able to enjoy the remaining weeks I've got there and look back fondly, because, as I said, there's a hell of a lot of positive memories I'm going to take with me.
That's Josh Ward, Director of Rugby at Southend Saxons, talking about his decision to step down from the role they play their rugby in Regional 1 South East. You can hear that full interview by listening back to BBC Essex Sport Extra with Ian Puckey from last night on BBC Sounds.
BBC Essex Sport.
Good evening to you, Victoria Polly on BBC Essex Sport until 10:30 tonight. At the break, Southend United all square with Gateshead in the National League.
Driving into the penalty area, he's found room for himself, and Ndengandi with a big save, got a big left foot out. Chadwick tried to play that into the bottom right corner, all on his own in the penalty area, but a massive save from Colin Ndengandi with 9.5 minutes in. Still 0-0. Austin has fed it away to Golding, right side of the penalty area, wants to play this in himself. Andy Dallas picks it up in the area, shoots, but it's to the right of goal. Well wide of the area inside the 6-yard box. It would have been a really tight angle to squeeze that in. Went for power, went for top right corner, but it's behind the goal, still 0-0. Dory wants to loop the keeper. Oh, Andy Dallas, that's stunning!
That's brilliant.
That is unbelievable from Andy Dallas. Wow. I say orbital, that's the perfect way to describe Andy Dallas. A looped pass from Harry Boyes from the left wing. Andy Dallas lets it bounce, shoots of his left foot outside the penalty area, spotting Debois off his lines. Southend United 1, Gateshead 0. Nicholson climbing for the header,
goal,
and it's in. And it's just gone beyond Ndengandi, and it's just stunned silence around Roots Hall. Straight from the training ground, corner kick from the right side. Nicholson, I think, was the one who won the header, and Colin Ndengandi can't stop that from sneaking underneath the crossbar. And with 30 seconds left of this first half, Gateshead have equalised. Southend United 1, Gateshead 1.
Southend stunned at the end of the first half. Can they recover and take their chances in the second? We'll have commentary for you at Roots Hall. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with your thoughts, 81333 on the text, 08000 321 333 on WhatsApp. Start your message with the word Essex. Continue to keep you up to date with all the scores from elsewhere, including in the Champions League. Spurs trailing by 4-1. Newcastle goalless with Barcelona. And we'll keep you up to date with everything going on locally as well. But time to head back to Roots Hall. Southend United against Gateshead in the National League, and time to rejoin our commentary team for the second half. Former Southend United player and manager Paul Clark alongside BBC Essex's Warren Muggleton.
The home of Essex Sports.
BBC Essex.
Thank you, Victoria. Teams out, ready to get the second half started. Looking at the historic results between Gateshead and Southend, have only ever met in the National League. You have to go back just over 3 years to the last time Southend beat Gateshead at Roots Hall, the 1-0 win. Harry Sandat scoring the winner. Since then, Gateshead have won twice in 2024 here, won a 1-0 win, a 3-1 win. But Southend looking to do a first ever double. They're not behind, all square at 1-1. Going from the sublime of Andy Dallas's looped goal to the ridiculousness perhaps of the way that Nicholson's goal and how the reaction came with stunned silence, and the 19 or so Gateshead fans to my right in the North Bank celebrated that. But there'll be see their team, Gateshead, attacking towards them, left to right from our position in their blue and claret shirts and claret shorts and socks. The goalkeeper in yellow with a grey pattern on his shirt. Southend in dark blue shirts and shorts, white socks. Playing from right to left, the goalkeeper all in green. Paul Clark alongside me for the second half, and I think obviously a mixture of sort of frustration, but also fancying the positives in the way that Southend attacked. But you feel there was a couple of chances, and it could even have been 3-1 as we restart the second half, Paul. But as it stands, it's 1-1.
Blues have got to take the positives out of that first half. They dominated for long periods as Austin gets away down the left-hand side.
Oh, he's done really well. He's left side of the penalty area, plays the cross in. Kendall with the flicked header, can't get it on target, cleared away by Nicholson. Back to Scott Morris. We'll run through the team sheets once this passage of play comes to an end. As Taylor goes back to Golding, and goes could have been the ideal start for Southend then. After 20 seconds, Austin doing it all on his own though to create the space. Kendall with the right idea with the flicked header outside the 6-yard box. It's difficult to get those on target.
Yeah, so just saying, again, the long ball goes in behind there. Dallas chasing after it, but fouls the defender.
Yeah, shove it in the back.
Pushed him, I don't know. Defender went down easy enough, but they're going to there. And but yeah, so they've got to learn the lessons from the first half, and take those positives out of it. And I understand there was long periods where they did dominate it, and just get back to doing that. And just when I say take the chances, I don't mean necessarily score. I mean, Charlie Kendall, when you're through with the keeper to beat, hit the flaming thing. Don't try and take another touch and put the defender on his backside. Have the shot, put it in. Sam Austin, get the thing on target.
Yeah, Andy Dallas said after this Carlisle draw, he said they didn't point fingers at half time in that game where they were 2-0 down. He just got on with it, figured out what they needed to do. You can listen to that interview on the BBC Sounds club feed. Just search Southend United, you'll find that there. Other scores on the BBC Sport website: Sutton United leading Scunthorpe 1-0 at Glanford Park. So a reminder of the teams, no changes at half time for Southend. And Dengendy in goal, the back three of Taylor, Golding and Gubbins, Scott Morris on the right, Boys on the left, Miley the captain in front of defence, Coker and Austin in midfield, Dallas and Kendall leading the line as Boys wins the ball and wins the foul off Kenton Richardson. Gateshead lining up with a 4-4-2. Devois in the goal. Back four, Richardson the captain at right back. Radcliffe and Story in the middle, Nicholson on the left. Ward the right midfielder, Chapman left midfielder, John and Bowen in the middle, with Boatswain and Chadwick leading the line. A couple of words from Kenton Richardson to Harry Boyes before he takes his free kick. Kendall might try and sneak in, but Nicholson pushes it back to his keeper, Devois. And that should go out for Southend throw-in. It will.
We had a look at Andy Dallas's goal at half-time, and when you see it again, as Colin plays a sort of 50-50 ball across the Gubbins, which gives him very little options.
Yeah, this is what Southend were doing to Gateshead in the first half, trying to force the error. Yeah,
so saying about the goal, the goalkeeper started to come as if he was going to come racing out for it, but then went back and was only actually 6 yards off his line when Dallas tried to lob him. It was a wonderful finish from him.
Yeah, Deb, as I say, 9 clean sheets in National South this season with Slough Town before making the move to the North East. You won't get a clean sheet tonight though. Harry Boyes for Southend wants to attack the space, whips across in at the far post is Scott Morris. The shot miscued, deflects off his shoulder over the byline. It'll be a goal kick. Nice idea.
Yeah, he'd have done well just to keep that in play and to recycle it back into the middle of the box, to be honest. It was a hell of a good ball put in there, but unfortunately there was nobody between the sticks that could go and attack it, and obviously Gus Scott Morris coming round that late, it's gone 10 yards beyond the far post, and it was all Gus could do to get on the end of it, never mind steer it back into play.
It was that kind of ball that led to the own goal. It led to Southend's equaliser from Harry Boyes. I think back to the Hartlepool United game, actually. It was an own goal was conceded. It was that sort of ball. 7 assists for Harry Boyes this season in all competitions. As from the goal kick from Gateshead, Gubbins finds a way to Kendall. Will drive this down the left wing. Did really well. He's done a lot of hard work, Charlie Kendall, in this game.
Dogged as well, wouldn't he? It could easily have just backed off and let that go as Golding gets his feet in a bit of a mess, but turns out and plays well.
Straight onto the head of Keaton Ward of Gateshead. Won't get onto the second ball though because Cav Miley snuck in, and there's room for Harry Boyes to drive forward up against Richardson. That's quite a tasty head-to-head, that one. Kendall, he's tried to cross that into the area, but that's not Kendall's strongest skill, you would suggest. But it spins away.
Darren Curry stands there with his arms out wide. What was that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that from Darren Curry in his playing days.
It's a good job that ball wasn't softer, because it was that man Chadwick again running along the line. He got himself in a great position. The ball up the line to him was just hit way too hard and gave him no chance. Went straight through to Colin, thankfully.
Yeah, Billy Chadwick, he's been hunting for spaces around the Southend defence. Has got on the scoreboard since his move to Gateshead. Scored the hat-trick in a 4-4 draw between Gateshead and Morecambe at the International Stadium. And Dengan D plays this to Golding across the penalty area, who finds a way to Taylor. First time to Coker. This is good from Southend. It's sharp and it's direct. It forces the momentum of play from one side to the other, right to left. Now Boyes spotted the run of Austin towards the left side of the penalty area. Cuts in, still has Boyes on his outside. And now to Gubbins. He'll play across into the far post. Gets to Coker, who has a volley. I think he wanted to do that, and again Darren Curry is not happy with the footwork of his players out on the field.
He's like a traffic cop at the moment out there, and he's just waving his arms about.
Kevin must be taking a bit of a break.
Yeah, it's again, all he's got to do, I say all he's got to do, ball's come a long way to him, Coker. Just a soft little volley back into the danger area, see if someone can get on the end of it.
Darren Curry will have faced Barnet as face Gateshead, I should say, as the manager of Barnet. Took them to the playoff semi-finals in 2020. This is Gateshead, one of the longest serving teams in the 5th tier of English football. This is their 25th campaign in what used to be known as the Alliance and became the Conference and now National League. Never been in the English Football League. Came close back in 2014, finished 3rd, reached the playoff final, lost 2-1 to Cambridge United. It's funny those sliding door moments, isn't it? What could have been. Scott Morris hooking the ball towards the right corner for Charlie Kendall to chase, but dealt with by Louis Story as he and Bowen get it back to the keeper, although he's fired out like a missile down the middle of the field. Too much for Boatswain, although it will eventually fall to Bowen, far side of the centre circle, and Gateshead can get it back.
I was going to say, they've just started this second half where Southend were picking up all those second balls in that first half. Gateshead are just starting to pick them up at the moment. Southend struggling just to get a grip in this second half.
Just seeing Owen Mason making his way into the stands in the director's box to our left, wearing his baseball cap. To be fair, he's quite a big figure, you can't miss him as a goalkeeper. Says he's loving life at Southend in his interview on the club feed on BBC Sounds. Gateshead back to playing the ball along the defensive line. It invites the pressure from Southend, tries to force the error. Nicholson with a heavy touch, but has found a way to Chadwick. And he plays it into Radcliffe. He'll look to drive down the right wing. Austin lets him go. This is Gateshead attacking. Radcliffe, he's edge of the penalty area now. Straight into Cav Miley, and somehow Joe Gubbins has given the foul away on Radcliffe. It's a free kick on the edge of the D on the near side, and a chance for Gateshead to attack. Scunthorpe have equalised against Sutton at home.
Did you say they had someone that curled free kicks in from this sort of distance?
Maybe. I've seen Keaton Ward. He curled in a shot against Braintree, and he's playing it forward to the spot. They're all having a bit of a conference, the Gateshead players, about who should take this free kick. Chapman's involved, Chadwick's involved. Keaton Ward's circling around the discussion. Nicholson's there as well. He fancies a brace for himself. But either way, this is a free kick. 25 yards out from the byline, near side of the D, with Gateshead attacking from left to right. 54 minutes on the clock. Southend 1, Gateshead 1 here on BBC Essex Sport on all frequencies. Warren Muggleton, former Blues player and manager Paul Clark, watching this one as the stand-in referee Richard Carter almost used up the whole can with spray.
Blues players can't believe how far back he's wanting them to go. Look.
Yeah, Cav Miley's having the word.
Dear me.
He must have quite a long stride, this referee.
I think they're just outside the hospital car park at the moment. Dear me.
That's a bit of a way beyond the North Bank. for those of you who don't know your Southend geography. But either way, there's plenty of room for one of... It feels like it's a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire question. Will it be A, Chadwick, B, Chapman, C, Nicholson, or D, Ward? My final answer, Chadwick. The free kick, ready to be put in. It'll be Chapman. It comes off the wall. It will be a corner kick.
Appealing for handball.
Gateshead appealing for the handball, but the referee not giving it.
I don't think VAR's here tonight, is it?
No, they're taking a break tonight.
Right.
Taking a break. They've got other things. There might be another competition. Champions League, is it called? People travel around a lot for that one. Anyway, corner kick, and it will be Keaton Ward to take. Aims for the near post. Scott Morris heads away. Cav Miley ensures that it's poked on, so it remains 1-all. How Charlie Kendall shows some great feet. Now he's driving down the left wing. Boatswain chasing him down, but Charlie Kendall carrying on his run into the penalty area to shoot on his left foot, but a block from Kenton Richardson. Would have been a superb solo goal. A good 75-yard run from Charlie Kendall before he took the shot on with his left boot over the byline, and it'll be a corner kick for Southend. The first real chance for them to attack Gateshead's goal.
That was an absolutely magnificent run. He did particularly well in the first place because he was in a really tight area and nearly got out muscled there, but spun away and then just head down at pace and then decides to shoot. Shame he didn't do that earlier when he was 5 yards from goal, isn't it?
And that's got some of the Southend fans singing and a bit more comfortable in their seats under the darkness of Southend. Boys with the corner kick from the left wing, aims to the far post. Scott Morris with a header, but it's across the 6-yard box and it will be cleared by Radcliffe. To no one other Gateshead player in particular. Harry Taylor ensures he can sweep that up.
Chapman couldn't believe it. He made a great run on the diagonal for him. It was a real poor ball from Gus Scott Morris. It's what we used to call hospital pass to Andy Dallas.
Dallas just lunging in to win the ball. I think Benton John have got there ahead of him. So a free kick for Gateshead in their own half. Don't forget fans football phone in back this Friday before Colchester against Crawley Town. Make sure you get in touch. 0800 111 40 41. Talk Colchester, Southend, Braintree, Glen Pennyfather. We'll be there for that one. Free kick from the goalkeeper, played from left to right. Richardson.
That could be
Yeah, I thought that was debate for it, but it's judged by the assistant, Daniel Cook, to come off the Gateshead captain last over the byline. Goal kick for Southend.
I'll tell you what, it's a good job that the referee and the assistant were watching the ball and not looking along the line, because Joe Gubbins just got hold of Richardson and just thrown him to the ground.
Well, a few shouts around. Roots Hall. Aslan Dangandee's kick is met by Boatswain of Gateshead on the halfway line.
Yeah, I beg your pardon, it's Boatswain, he chucked to the ground. A nice clear call from Colin there. A calamity written all over it. Both him and Golding go for it at the same time, but put a nice early name on it.
Well, he's gone short to Golding. Chadwick trying to put the pressure on.
I'm not sure he wanted it there.
I don't think he did. Scott Morris again tries to find a way to Kendall, but blocked by Nicholson. As Gateshead look to move the ball from left to right. Shining under the floodlights at Roots Hall. West Stand not full.
Don't miss that.
Oh, Keaton Ward trying to run rings around Harry Boys. He's just about managed that. He brought the ball under control. Boys have just taken a step in field, which allowed Keaton Ward to get a confident touch onto the ball. Although Nicholson's been robbed by Coker and Kendall. As he managed to win a foul, he has. Really clever. Moved the ball from right to left boot to push it away from Sam Bowen, and that drew the foul on the edge of the centre circle.
Was Bowen sliding in, was it? I think he knew there was no way he was going to be able to close the space down in a foot race, so just threw himself to the ground, tried to slide in, thought the second best, I'll bring the lad down, which is exactly what he did. It's a careless ball.
Well, Austin there to sweep it up before it goes over the wing on this near side on the east stand. Southend attacking from right to left. Golding to and Dengandee, well out of his area, but tries to play this to Boys. Instead finds Richardson of Gateshead. Infield to Fenton John. This Gateshead side looking to attack again. 60 minutes on the clock. Still 1-1 between the Blues and the Heed.
Well played, sir.
That was Sam Bowen. Joined from Solihull Moors. His dad Jason, a legend of Swansea City and Cardiff City. A couple of appearances for Wales. Here he is again. All the way back to Louis Story, the player coach. One of the few players left in the Gateshead squad who won the FA Trophy. Competition Southend are still in. They'll travel to Southport on the 28th of March. We'll be racking up the miles on their route to Wembley. They will hope. Well, we're just spending more time infield in the second half. As Gateshead looks to put a bit of a squeeze on Southend.
Yeah, Blues they're just taking a bit of a breather and keeping his shape and allowing Gateshead a bit of possession. They're passing it around a lot, but really not probing a great deal. But just got to make sure if you're going to do that, everybody keeps on, because in a moment they're going to step up.
Yeah, with Boys and Gubbins just inviting pressure, hugging the left wing on this near side. Boys, well, I should say Ndengan found the way to Andy Dallas, and Coker on the turn into Scott Morris. First time for him to run down the right wing. Has an overlap from Harry Taylor. Coker infield, decides to go for Taylor in front of the west stand. Coker wants it down the line, but that has been well read by Story, and he'll clear it.
That's a shocking pass.
It was not great.
I mean, it's a 5-yard pass. You can't overhit it by 3 yards, 5 yards. Gave him no chance.
Yeah. Harry Taylor on his 37th appearance of the season, only missed 2 games this season. Woking have equalised against Boreham Wood at Laithwaite, so currently with Scunthorpe and Boreham Wood both level in their games.
Couple of substitution for Blues about to
good chance really for Southend to try and sneak back into the playoffs in a good position. 2 substitutions to come for Southend. First one is Ollie Coker making way for Keenan Appiah-Forson, and the second change will be bringing an end to Cav Miley's 150th appearance. He'll get applause for that with James Morton on in his place.
The good thing about Cav Miley is that I think it's a tactical substitution, and that he didn't have any lasting or anything left over from that challenge towards the end of the first half. With Keenan Appiah-Forson, you kind of exchanging probably a little bit of guile in midfield for an awful lot of work rate.
Appiah-Forson got amongst the goals recently on the trip to Horsham. Last scored for Southend in the league at the end of March last year, that winner against Oldham Athletic. Meanwhile, we restart with a throw-in for Southend, 15 yards from the byline. Played into Appiah-Forson to run onto, but it ended up bouncing straight over the byline, and again, just didn't really give him a chance.
Gave him absolutely no chance. It's a throw-in that the Blues do an awful lot, and I can't believe other sides fall for it all the time. They all back away like Gus Scott Morris is going to take a long throw, and then someone just shows for it, gets it thrown to feet. That was the idea. He just threw it too far in front of Appiah-Forson. He had no chance of getting it, just threw it straight out for the goal kick, unfortunately.
Taken by Adam Deswell, a 25-year-old loanee from Crawley Town for Gateshead, and it's straight out of play. Harry Boys will take this throw-in into Gubbins. This is for Dallas, but he ducks. Kendall gets a header onto it. They're ahead of Richardson, but has to turn his back to the opposition goal, although there was an offside flag against Charlie Kendall anyway.
Yeah, he'd come back from the offside position to pick it up.
Long time before the assistant Isabel Chaplin's flag went up. Gave Charlie Kendall a false sense of security there, didn't it?
Don't think the referee noticed either, to be honest, even when the flag did go up.
Well, he's out of duties at the moment, Richard Carter, fourth officially today, but obviously an injury of some sort to Darren Drysdale, the scheduled referee, and he had to step up. Darren Curry continuing to applaud the team, although
I think he's trying to G everybody up. He's trying to get the crowd lifted as well, because everything seems to have just gone a little bit flat at the moment all around.
Yeah, the South
needs to lift from somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, the South Essex atmosphere has just come a bit sullen and heavy across Roots Hall. Just need something to liven them back up again. So we call for consistent 90 minutes, and Southend get back to what they were doing in the first half. As Appiah-Forson pushes the ball out of play, it'll be a throw in for Gateshead, which they want to get on with. Into Boatswain, but Golding spotted that for Southend. Austin and Morton bring it under control. Misplaced by Morton. One back by Gateshead's Bowen.
But you can see why this lot have picked up a few results of late, can't you?
Well, they've come back a lot of times. They've picked up late goals. They scored very late against Solihull Moors last Saturday. to get the win.
Yeah, I mean, they're nobody's fools. They still look a little bit lightweight up front to me. There's no pace at the back, but if you let them play, they can play.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Kendall trying to put pressure on Radcliffe, but too much room, and he's allowed to play back to the goalkeeper. Here he goes again, the 22-year-old. It's a young squad as well for Gateshead as well. Lots of youth in this team.
Boatswain just keeping Gubbins honest there. Close enough to say, try and bring that down. I'm close enough to tackle you. So
it might be his last change. So we've got a couple of substitutions to come for Gateshead. First one is Billy Chadwick, making way for Levi Amanchi. Spent the first half of the season on loan at Rochdale and spent 4 months at Braintree in 2022. Made 14 appearances, scored 6 goals. He comes in the 65th minute. Levi Amanchi to replace Billy Chadwick. Taking his time, making his way off the field, wearing his headband and his long hair.
To be fair, fourth official struggling with the ball.
Next substitution will be Josh Home, former Newcastle youth player, in the place of Sam Bowen. There are your 2 changes for the visitors here on BBC Essex Sport. Score at Southend 1, Gateshead 1 in the National League. Currently not enough to send Southend back into the playoffs.
I assume
they need a win to do that.
Sorry, I assume the fourth official was the one that they got from the crowd.
Yeah.
Didn't have to do a good job there with the ball. You actually turned around and showed everybody what the numbers were. So thank you, whoever you are. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if it was, might even have been April. I know April Smith is around. I think she is referee trained, so it might well have been her. We restart with a throw-in for Gateshead, 15 yards from the byline on the right wing on this near side. Nicholson, and he obviously thought he'd spotted somebody in the North Bank, wanted to send it to them as opposed to in the penalty area.
Came out the back of the hand, that one. Just got too much left hand onto it and he just threw it straight out for a goal kick.
Well, he's got better things to reflect on in this game with that equaliser. 67 minutes on the clock at Roots Hall. And Dengendy with the goal kick. Straight down the middle.
A challenge would be nice, wouldn't it?
Certainly would. Golding wins the header but bounces off a Manchi. Boatswain keeps Gateshead in possession.
How does a goal kick go 10 yards into the opposition half and no blue shirt anywhere near it to challenge the centre half for it?
What a game at Grosvenor Vale. It was half-time. At half-time it was 2-2 between Wealdstone and Tamworth, and it's the Stones that have a goal to give them the lead at 3-2 in the second half. All of those scores on the BBC Sport website. Wealdstone, the last home game of Southend season on the 25th of April, 12:30 kick-off then. It's Gateshead working this down the left wing, keeping it alive despite momentarily losing sight of the ball. Fenton John. This is into Boatswain. Josh Home.
Do you get the impression they're starting to fancy this a little bit?
They are. They're just starting to believe. Darren Curry wants the players to get forward. They're just allowing a bit more space for Gateshead, those defenders. Unlike in that first half, they were putting the press on. But Gateshead have room to play it out from the back. A huge amount of space for Fenton John to run into. His pass lacked the accuracy.
But he's run past 3 midfield players who did nothing.
This is an out of play. Scott Morris hasn't kept that out. Josh Home keeps it alive. Into Chapman to shoot outside the penalty area. And it's out, and it nuzzles into the seats in the North Bank, unoccupied by the Gateshead fans. And it'll be a goal kick. Still 1-0.
Yeah, where's the pressing gone? Where's the commitment to win that second ball in midfield, to go and close people down? I've got no objection. I fully understand where you take 5 minutes, where we just sit back and just get organised again. But
so you said that about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you can just sit back there and just let people run past you.
From the kick, Kendall wins the header. Atletico Madrid have a 5th against Tottenham. Kendall had found the header into Dallas, but he'd miscued, and the ball ricochets to Nicholson of Gateshead. Back to Story. Again, that's when you want Dallas just put a bit more pressure on Story than he was in that moment.
There's no pressure on the ball whatsoever at the minute.
No. And it's allowing Gateshead to get into Southend's final. And now Golding has a 2-on-1 as he chases this ball down, but he gets the clearance right, and it'll be a throw in for Gateshead on their left wing.
Darren Curry just waving, I think, Tom Hopper and
Jack Bridge
up.
Well, you know Jack Bridge will bring that dynamism down the left wing.
Well, with a bit of luck, if you get Jack Bridge on out wide left, we might get hold of the ball and keep it for a little bit, because we've barely had it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's been certainly a spell for Gateshead as we approach the 70th minute, 20 minutes to go. Long throw from Nicholson onto the head of Golding. Austin tries to win it but is unable to, and Dallas has to clear this away. Kendall will go into a running race with Kenton Richardson. He's able to shepherd that out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Gateshead. Richardson, his granddad Fred, played for the likes of Chelsea, Hartlepool United and West Bromwich Albion between the 50s and 60s. So Radcliffe plays the throw-in back to Desbois. Long kick down the middle. Boatswain takes this under control, has to push it out to the right wing on this near side. And now again the space for Fenton John.
Left back.
Yeah, loads of space for Nicholson. Home finds him. And Scott Morris now puts pressure on Nicholson with the cross into Boatswain, wins the header in the penalty area, plays it across to Amanchi. Might fall to Keaton Ward in the penalty area to shoot right-footed, sliding tackle from Gubbins, stops it from Bethneston in the back of the net. Clearance is not as far as the edge of the final third. Richardson will play this cross to the far post for Amanchi, but he misses the header. And that, if anything, is a serious message for Southend to get the pressure back on, because that's two big chances that Gateshead have let slip, and it remains 1-1.
Listen, I'm showing my age here, but Andy Gray scores that. A Bill Garner, a Chris Guthrie scores that header. The lad's gone up for it there and pretty much shut his eyes.
Yeah.
Thankfully for Blues, he's just got to come on and power that, and it's a free header almost. But thankfully, hate to say bottled out of it, but just pulled away from it, didn't really commit to it, and thankfully Blues got away with it.
Yeah, they worked a corner kick actually, short from the goal kick from Ndengandi to Taylor, out to Scott Morris on the right, plays a ball down the right wing, which gives Nicholson something to question with a Pia Forson on his shoulder, and it creates a corner kick. Maybe Harry Boys to take, and the fans around us shout, "Come on Southend." What can they create from this set piece? Harry Boys with his left boot from the right corner on the far side. Lines this one up. Line towards the near post. Headed away by Boatswain. It's been really strong. No sorts of contacts. Boys. Right side of the penalty area to Pia Forson. Plays it across the grass. It's as far as Scott Morris to clearance from Pia Forson's cross. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't cut it back to Scott Morris.
Yeah, and then when Gus got it, he tried to flick it out wide again.
They'll try it again, right side of the penalty area. Ward beats Pia Forson to that ball.
It's a sloppy ball to him again as well. Gave him no chance, did it? Or it made him second favourite for him.
And we've won a throw in here, Gateshead as well. Substitutions being prepared for both sides. Tom Hopper and Jack Bridge being prepared. And let's see. So Joe Gubbins is first, and on in his place will be, I think they'd originally said Jack Bridge, but I think there's a little clerical error from Mark Bentley, so it doesn't look like it will be Joe Gubbins.
No, Joe's going, am I coming, am I not, and Gus Scott Morris.
So here it comes now. Change will be Jack Bridge for Gus Scott Morris. I think it is April Smith doing the board today.
Good luck to her.
Good luck to her, absolutely. Does it all. Works for Leyton Orient. Coaches a white ensign. Now she can add scoreboard operator for a National League game. So Jack Bridge on for Gus Scott Morris. And you just sense, I think, we were just a couple of those passes he was making, just lacking the accuracy on them. It's gone a bit misplaced as Andy Dallas makes way for Tom Hopper.
Again, that can only be fresh legs. I thought he's led the line well. Obviously took his goal brilliantly, but fresh legs up there to go and close down, probably with a bit of luck. And Jack Bridge for Gus Scott Morris is just a straight swap. Jack unusually is going out onto that right hand side, where probably historically he's not been quite as effective, surprisingly, as he is on the left hand side.
So next substitution is for Gateshead. Harry Chapman making way for Joshua Anifawose. the 22-year-old. Might be a familiar name to any Averley supporting listeners. So in the first half of the 2024-25 season with the Millers. He's been with Eastbourne Borough this season, 5 assists in 26 games and 1 goal to his tally. So that will be a like-for-like change on the wings. And if we're also getting some cheers from maybe a couple of infiltrating Gateshead fans amongst the crowd, or maybe even for April Smith operating the scoreboard. Either way, we restart with a throw-in for Gateshead, left wing, far side. Nicholson to take 15 yards from the byline, quickly becomes 20. A little shove in the back on Jack Bridge by Onifowose, but referee says he didn't see it. Oh, and Goldie might be muscled out by Amanchi. He's left side of the penalty area. That's support from the substitute Onifowose. Oh, he's managed to go through the legs. He might take the shot on himself, deflected away by Golding. That was fierce, and it was whipped in by the substitute for Gateshead. That's another big chance to Paul Clark.
It was great skill from him. He had, I think it was Jack Bridge and Harry Taylor out on that side. He nutmegged one of them and just run past both of them. Went for the shot from a tight angle. But, as you say, got plenty of power on it. I was just glad that he couldn't see anybody coming into the box, that he could just roll it across and side foot in, because obviously once he's got between the two defenders, everybody's getting over that side. Let's see if he can keep this throw on the island. 14
minutes to go. Southend 1, Gateshead 1. Nicholson launches this. He'll find the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Tom Hopper. Austin has to go backwards to Morton so that he can clear away. It's straight to Gateshead's Richardson. Little miscue from Story. Plays it to Harry Boys, and Nicholson ends up giving away the foul. Not been many fouls at all in this game from the referee, by my count. Had 8 total. 3 for Southend, 5 for Gateshead.
He's done all right, the referee.
Yeah. Maybe that's what they should do, just throw them in at the last minute.
I haven't noticed him an awful lot, so that normally tells you he's doing all right.
Gubbins into Boys. Jack Bridge calling for the ball out on the right wing. But Boys is in a bit of a corner. Stuck between Keaton Ward and Boatswain, and Southend have to play it across the defensive line as it loses that directness, the attack. Although now Gubbins has spotted away into Sam Austin, so has John Fenton.
Oh, I don't know.
I think they might be called for a handball. No, the referee says it'll be a throw-in. Just gone out.
But that ball that Golding plays across to Harry Taylor time and time again, I'm sure there's a better ball on him for that, because Harry Taylor just gets it. He's back to the way they want to go. Invariably goes back again. I think there's a better ball on from that from Golding.
Morton into James Golding, edge of the penalty area, might open up for the shot, right-footed, but blocked. First time we've seen James Golding really drive in from range, and we know he can score. And he had a chance there for his first goal, actually, since Southend beat Altrincham 2-1. That's into Kendall from Golding. Suddenly proving Southend most creative player at the moment.
Yeah, Golding playing like a centre forward, doing exactly what I asked. Ball came into him and he just helped it round the corner, and they very nearly got on the end of it and finally get to put some pressure on.
I think he's realised that Boatswain's sitting a lot deeper as well, trying to get more involved in the play, so it invites him to come in. That's a really clever ball from Harry Boys into Hopper. Tries to make room for the cross but unable to. Boys behind him. He'll whip across into the far post, and it's aimed at Appiah Forson, who won't get near that. Mayer thinks there were hands on Appiah Forson from home, and as he slid in to win the ball, it's still a throw-in for Southend. Appiah Forson gets it back from Bridge. Morton forward into Kendall inside the penalty area, and it just becomes a bit claustrophobic from Southend on that far wing. Bridge wants to take on his man, has to go back to Appiah Forson. Now Bridge again, forward into Taylor, right side of the penalty area, tries to play it in, and his cross is blocked by Gateshead. The man goes down, a foul against Southend, much to the fury of the technical area, and it will be a free kick for Gateshead. 2 more substitutions to come for the visitors, and that will be it for them.
I think when Harry Taylor gets there, he's just got to cut that back. There's 1 or 2 balls. He either rolls it between the keeper and the defenders for on-rushing, but there was a lot of bodies there, so he's probably not going to get that one. So to miss that out, you just go, right, cut it right back behind everybody and just hope there's a blue shirt running into it.
So the 2 changes, one of them is left back David Ferguson, the other is right winger Ethan Moore. First change is Fenton John for Ferguson. So that's a midfielder for a left back. And you wonder whether that will change the setup of Gateshead, as you say, maybe sensing that there is another opportunity to be taken. These changes come in with 10 minutes to go here on BBC Essex Sport, on air until 10:30, so make sure you stay with us. We'll have reaction from the Southend camp, which will also be available on the Southend United club feed on BBC Sounds. Search Southend, you'll find it all there. Other change is Boatswain making way for Ethan Moore. So attacking change, and then we'll yet to see how the change of John for Ferguson is going to make its impact, Paul Clark.
I think he's done all right for them. Boatswain, he's done a little bit of everything, hasn't he? He's led the line for a little while, and then he's come back, just sat in that hole, did some defensive work as well. So he's done not bad for them.
Ethan Moore, 21 years old, a loanee from the Sunderland Academy.
Oh my God.
Oh, the kick from the goalkeeper is onto the head of Joe Gubbins, and there's loads of room for Harry Boyes to run into. This will be the first challenge for Ethan Moore, is stopping Harry Boyes on the run, as he checks back into an open James Morton just beyond the halfway line. Boyes has again been left, and Gubbins is allowed to stride into space. Morton's in the centre circle now to his right, out to Taylor and Bridge. Southend looking to find that sharpness, that directness again, but being put under pressure in what is appearing to be a front trio for Gateshead. Does seem to have shifted to that now. Richardson putting pressure on Boyes, he pokes to Morton, first time whipped for Kendall to chase, and he plays it into the penalty area for Tom Hopper, but he can't get a touch onto it. Boyes will follow up, following the clearance. As Gateshead, Moore tries to get out of a hole, but gives it straight to Sam Austin. Morton into a Pia Forson in the middle. Does really well actually with the second touch. The first one was heavy. Found a way out to Harry Boyes, into Sam Austin. A Pia Forson in the penalty area on his left foot, on the byline, but just pushes it out of play, and it's a goal kick. And he just scored a bit of hesitancy there. A Pia Forson just needed to either have a shot or whip it into the middle, and maybe Charlie Kendall could have poked a boot onto it. Still 1-1.
Yeah, but it's nice to see Blues finally starting to pick up those second balls and go. Not, when I say direct, I don't mean by getting it from back to front as quick as they can, but getting the passes forward and getting into people quickly and then getting people to go and join.
Complete turnaround at Laithwaite's. Woking 2, Boreham Wood 1. Boreham Wood were leading 1-0 at half time. There's the goal kick. James Morton winning the header. Sam Austin will try to get there first ahead of Moore, which he does. Well, he's looking for an option and has to go back to Gubbins. 7.5 minutes of normal time left. Southend 1, Gateshead 1. Can the Blues get themselves a chance to get a winner?
Now look forward.
Golding had probably one of the best chances of the second half, and he wants the option. He wants the option to go forward. Gubbins has found a way to Sam Austin down this left wing, but Radcliffe sneaking in, wants to play it down the line.
Yeah, Dev right. James Golding, he dumps the ball off to the side and then just turns and has a look and sort of berates everybody. Say, someone give us an option forward.
Yeah, there's a huge gap between the 3 defenders and James Morton, and then all the attackers.
Oh God.
Almost a short pass from Golding into Taylor, and now's the player. Amanchi snuck in. Advantage being played by the referee. But a tackle from Golding on Amanchi, who'd snuck in. Although Gateshead had the chance to go forward, but instead go backwards.
Yeah, the referee was on a loser there because it looked like Gateshead were going to break away, so he tried to play the advantage, and then suddenly they turned back. And it kind of looks negative, so it didn't come off. I'm sure he'll come and get Golding in the book now.
And Kevin Mayer making the point.
Yeah, there he goes.
He's talking to Sam Austin. I think he's kind of frustrated figure.
And James Golding picks up the caution. So the referee was a bit unlucky there. He tried to play the advantage, but thankfully for Blues, Gateshead couldn't capitalise on it. Going to make a substitution before the throw, I think.
James Golding into the book.
Yes.
Yeah, so James Golding with his second yellow card on his second loan spell from Oxford United. Last change to come for Southend
the throw first, I think.
It is to be played. It'll be Josh Walker to come on. Hopper's managed to turn away from his man. Onto the byline. Wants to play this ball into the penalty area. Austin's got there ahead of the goalkeeper and play it across to Charlie Kendall, who will shoot! And it skims to the left of goal. Kevin Mayer puts his hands to his face. It was a gift from Adam Debois into Sam Austin. Turned, found Kendall, who shot as he should do, but it trickles to the left of goal and it remains 1-1, and that is the last action of Charlie Kendall's game, with Josh Walker coming on. Paul Clark, how close was that?
Not as close as it should have been. It should have been nestling in the back of the net. He's worked hard tonight, to be fair. Worked really hard, and some of the best things that Southend have done attacking from deep. Charlie Kendall's been the cause of it. Lots of good running power from him. Got away from defenders. It's just the finishing. That's the only question mark you have against him at the moment.
5 goals this season for Charlie Kendall. And the applause for the attendance. 6,822. I had it right, Paul. 19 Gateshead supporters.
You were counting them, let's be fair.
I must be getting the hang of it.
I mean, you can get to 20 at least, can't you?
19 fans and 2 flags.
I wonder why you're taking your shoes and socks off.
So a free kick for Gateshead, 10 yards beyond the halfway line. Keaton Ward taking some instruction from Rob Elliott. As the Southend fans call for him to get on with it. Here's Ward with this free kick, wearing his red muddy boots. Right-footed. Going for that far wing. It's certainly got a bit of air on it. Amanchi, there's a deflection off his back. It's Messi in the penalty area, but Sam Austin able to clear away. As far as the substitute Ferguson for Gateshead, who was still in possession, is on Ifawosa. Out to the right with Ward. Still options up top. On Ifawosa, thought about taking the shot, but Walker managed to sneak in, and he's put a really clever ball into Harry Boyes, and Southend can get on the counter. Sam Austin wants to try and get there to Boyes, but Keaton Ward had followed up. So a throw in for Southend. 3 minutes of normal time left, still 1-1 between Gateshead and Southend here on BBC Essex. Golding, edge of the centre circle, just over the halfway line now, far side. Into Taylor, Darren Curry pointing to the goal to my left, because that's what Southend need to attack. Boyes flicks the header into Austin, which beats Richardson. Austin can put this ball into the middle, checks back. Boyes with the first time cross, deflection off the back of Richardson, and it's a corner kick. Clever move from Harry Boyes to spot the run of Austin and flick the header in.
Yeah, it was terrific. I'm just wondering, has James Golding got in his contract that he has to pass to Barry Taylor?
Yeah, more often than not it has been. So Harry Boyes to take this. Fans on the edge of their seats all around me in the east stand.
Delivery.
Boyes plays it into the near post. Hopper with the flicked header. It's still alive in the penalty area. Can it be flicked in? No. The plan's gone down in the area. Joe Gubbins slams the ground, looks to the assistant referee. He thinks he was pulled down on the far side. They're looking for a penalty, but referee saying no. Darren Curry can't believe it. Kevin Mayer stunned, and it remains 1-1. Question is, Paul Clark, was it? Was there a penalty call?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I just happened to be looking at the near post and seeing what was going on there.
The Southend just starting to show a bit more attack again in this game.
What, 2 minutes left?
Well, it's a good. Well, it would be a good time. Although Gateshead are coming on the counter attack now. Here's Ethan Moore, tries to drive into the penalty area. And now he's gone down in the area, and now it's the turn of the Gateshead fans. Well, laughing at them.
I honestly didn't see the other one at the other end, so I couldn't tell you, but if it was anything like that one, then it was a penalty.
Well, Ethan Moore, I mean, it was just the pillar was in front of me in this east stand, but I guess he was dragged down as he got into the penalty area.
Golding put his left hand on his shoulder, grabbed his shirt and pulled him to the ground.
Oh, maybe it's a balance of perhaps of opportunities. Eastleigh 2, Brackley 1 at the Silver Lake Stadium on the south coast. Tottenham down 5-2 at the Wanda Metropolitano. 7 goals, they certainly got their money's worth. Hopper has played this out to the wing, but Austin left it for Harry Boyes and Richardson's intercepted. 40 seconds left of normal time. Austin trying to sneak in against Moore and wins the tackle. Really good work from Sam Austin. Been one of the hardest workers on the field tonight. Morton lifted to Bridge on the right wing. Has a Appiah Forson in field. Taylor with the overlapping run. But Gates is on Ifawosa on his shoulder. Little drag back and Southend have to work it backwards. It's like 5 minutes of additional time coming. High ball from right to left. Offside flags up against Harry Boyes. And frustration simmers its way across Roots Hall under the dark sky.
That's the one where you say you cannot be caught offside in that position, because you're out wide looking right along the line. No way you should get caught offside, but it's done so frequently as a caution now for the bench.
One of the officials, one of the one of the staff. 5 minutes of additional time. Southend 1, Gateshead 1.
I'm not convinced that's April.
You're not? I'm not sure. We'll ask her after the game. Where were you on the evening of 10th of March 2026? The hard-hitting questions. So free kick for Gateshead, just outside their penalty area, following the offside against Harry Boyes. It's down the right wing. The header won by a Manchi, but ends up going backwards. Seconds ticking away. Southend look like they're heading towards 3 consecutive draws.
Still plenty of time.
Indeed there is. Well, we've played one of those additional minutes.
Situations like this, we always used to say, we'll get one more chance. We'll get one more chance. Not if you play passes like that, you won't. But
well, Hopper and Boyes have managed to keep Southend in possession. He wants to try and thread this to Austin. Instead he attempts to cross and will get the corner kick. So a good opportunity for Southend again, but we'll need a better delivery than the last time.
I don't know, it caused a few ructions, didn't it, even if it weren't that great a delivery.
Oh, it did, of course.
Keeping a close eye on Joe Gubbins. I think the referee's keeping a close eye on him as well. Gubbins and Story, I think it is. It's just having a little
corner kick aim for the far post. This a good punch away. Far as Appiah Forson, encouraged to shoot from outside the penalty area. Wicked deflection off Keaton Ward and out over the right wing.
Came and closed it down really well, defender. I think it was Josh Holm got out at him and blocked a shot.
Southend fans just urging. Or they play it short. Jack Bridge can play this into the area. There's a flick. It might be Walker on the turn. Oh, it's just to the right of goal. Don't know how it fell to Josh Walker, but he was edge of the 6-yard box, back to goal, but managed to turn and get the shot away. But it's just to the right of the right upright, and it remains 1-1 with 2.5 of the 5 additional minutes played.
Yeah, in his defence, he did really well to get the shot away, because his first touch, he'd already gone in. He had to sort of turn away from goal. First touch took him away, but he was onto it like lightning, spun really quickly, just couldn't get round enough to get it on target. Got a good strike on it.
It's been just over a year since Southend had 3 draws in a row. Almost to the day. When they drew 2-2 at Tamworth, 1-1 at Tamworth, 2-2 at Yeovil, and then 2-1 at home against Woking. Kick from the goalkeeper onto the head of Southend's Gubbins. James Morton onto the second ball, and Southend with a couple of options down this left wing. Sam Austin attacking, has Keaton Ward putting the pressure on. But forward to Boyes. He's driving at Richardson. Will play into Sam Austin. Does a 360 in the penalty area. Gets the cross away to Walker, but his header is lateral. Appiah Forson and Bridge on the right side of the penalty area on the far wing. Bridge taking on his man. Has an overlap from Taylor, but it's miscued and Gateshead able to get possession back. But they won't be able to counter unless Southend gift it to them. Golding back to Ndeng and D. He'll whip this one forward. I think Hopper's the only man who can really challenge for that. He was the only one not in an offside position.
Well played, sir.
Onifawosa into Moore. Gateshead on the attack down this right wing. Onifawosa there ahead of Morton. 1 minute of time left. 1-1 at Roots Hall. This is Moore taking on Gubbins.
Let him get in the box.
Gubbins just poking a boot out. And it's a goal kick.
Well done. Well done.
Done really well, Joe Gubbins. That gets the applause of fans.
Yeah, just nervous that he was backing off, eventually getting closer to the box, but in the end he just stood his ground and did well.
Let's play it towards Hopper. Oh, and he's had an elbow in his face as him and Story have gone to ground, and the fans around us are apoplectic with rage at that one. As they went up for the challenge,
I think they
Hopper and Story both went up for it, but then Story's elbow almost came down on Hopper.
I think they both just missed it.
I would suspect so. Gubbins playing forward to
That's a foul.
Hopper. He's managed to win the ball still. Boys out to Austin. Southend, maybe one last attack. All played in. Oh, it's just missed, but Jack Bridge will chase that before it goes out of the penalty area. And Jack Bridge goes to ground, but no foul against them. And it's lifted down the wing. Amanchi's won the ball. And Gateshead looking to get on the counter late on. Ward into Onifowosa. Throw in, the assistant's flagged for it, and now it's been given by the referee.
Yeah, he's done that the last couple of games, Jack. He gets in those tight areas and throws himself down trying to win the free kick, and the referees ain't having it anymore.
But it's been played short. Morton lifts this into Hopper, doesn't win the header, but it's still in a dangerous area. Austin into Boys, cuts beyond the one challenge, into Austin, infield to shoot right footed, aim for the bottom left corner, straight at the keeper.
That'll be it.
And as he comes up to collect it, looks like the referee is giving the countdown. And that is the full-time whistle. As boos ring round, the handshakes are given, and it's a share of the points for the third game in a row for Southend, and it's come against another relegation battling side, and it keeps them outside the playoffs. Southend United 1, Gateshead 1. First goal coming after 20 minutes, with Andy Dallas putting a stunning looped ball into the net behind the goalkeeper for Gateshead. But then just before the half-time break, a header from Brad Nicholson caught out Colin Ndengandi with the loop. He couldn't stop it from sneaking underneath the crossbar. And in a game where in the second half, where Southend really allowed the pressure on them from Gateshead and allowed chances onto them, it's picked out one or two chances towards the end of the second half. James Golding having a drive, Josh Walker shooting inside the penalty area, but Paul Clark, they've lacked the clinicalness in that second half, and it's meant that they've had a share of the points instead of taking all three, when it could have been 3-1 at half time.
Yeah, and just watching now at the end, Joe Gubbins just berating the referee, claiming that he should have had a penalty. And as I said at the time, don't know, he might be 100% right, but that being the case, have a look at the one the other end as well, because again, I could be wrong. Look for all the world like Golding hoiked their lad to the ground, but overall so disappointing that second half that just never closed them down and got tight to them and allowed them far too much room and allowed them to come up and play in Southend's half. And as we said, they are not a bad side, you know. Yes, they're struggling down the bottom of the league, but they're turning things around slowly, and they showed that if you let them play, they can play. And for periods, I just felt there that Southend did let them play. That first half, I thought for long periods, they really closed down, they hustled and harried, and when Gateshead tried to play about in their own half, Southend were nicking it and attacking at pace. Second half, different story all over.
It has been, definitely. And you know, you look at this one as well, and again, you just come back to the clinicalness. Yes, and Southend allowed Gateshead on, and yes, there are players missing from this Southend team as well. You know, like Nathan Ralph, Noor Hussein, Harry Cardwell, those kind of players. But I think maybe just the